Okay, this was sent to me by my friend Andre, and I'm going to play it, and she's chipping out chunks of pyrite, blocks, and they form in crystals. Now I'm going to explain this whole process to you. But right now, she's chiseling them out of this clay, and this is clay. Now watch this and think very carefully while you're watching. Just don't say, ooh. Think of what she's doing. She's chiseling away this clay away from this pyrite. So why would that chunk be right in the middle of this clay? Well, what happened? Somebody just drop it here? Let's listen to what she has to say.
Get up. Let's see what we're working with here. Wow.
Oh, there you go. Now that big one's getting loose.
Clay. You see that?
Oh.
Now look what she's got here. These are all blocks. Now some of them, they look black to me. And some of them, well, that one there, it looks specifically very gold looking. Now, let's take a look deeper. But what I want you to focus on here is this is clay. This is not some cracking stuff like limestone or basalt or anything like that. They're just, it's like almost putty if it was really, really wet. And she wets these things and they wiggle right out. And I'll show you why they wiggle out and what they're wiggling out from. All right, going back just a smidge. I mean, this is very, very short video. So remember, this is just clay.
Wow.
Look at that.
Oh, there you go. Now that big one's getting loose.
Okay.
See how it's putty almost? Look. You see how they just jiggle right out of the wall? This is not like rock like basalt or, you know, the hard stuff. This is clay. And it's primarily, I believe, kaolin or bentonite clay.
Alright.
I think it's kaolin. Now, look at these pyrite crystals.
That one's going to fit like a puzzle piece. Oh, it's wiggling.
See, she says it's wiggling. Now, what I want you to look at, and I'm going to take a couple of pictures of this, just little shots of it. Hold on one second. All right, I'm going to play it again. Yeah, I played this thing about 20 times to understand what they're doing. They put a little water on here. It's actually softening things up, and they're chiseling away. And again, it doesn't fracture. It's a clay.
Okay.
You see it just wiggling away. Now there they are, and they pull them out.
All right.
Now there's going to be.
So look at that one's going to fit like a puzzle piece. Oh, it's wiggling.
This is the one where we're going to see where the blood was feeding that. That's from being fed by some little blood vessels. And there's the little blood vessels right there. And they are in the back of this crystal. And they are the things that came out and then they grew into a crystal here for some, well, that's what happens with these disulfide bonds. And hold on, here it goes. All right, so they're pulling it out. These are the three spots right there. Now let's see if we can find where that is. Now she's carrying it over.
What's the other side?
All right, now let's look at this careful.
Oh my
That's crazy cool.
They're going to be right here. These spots. That's what came out of that wall, I believe. When they don't know what they're looking, there they are, right there. You see down here? Let me back that up just a hair. It came out of the wall with those three holes.
That's crazy cool.
And I believe they're right in here, and that's another spot which caused this to cleave off. Now, boy, it's in the wrong highlight there. Let me get it right up close here. I believe those three spots right there. Boom, boom, boom. You see them? I believe that's what created this crystal. The fluids went through here, and these could be lymph fluids, I don't know. But this is, these pyrites are primarily, well, they're iron and sulfur. And this looks like blood or some form of fluids went in there, in that spot right there. You see? And this white spot here was, I don't know, it has some other, that's not just laying there. There was an inclusion there of something which forced this to go off that way instead of staying square. All right, there's the best shot right there. You got boom, 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 and this thing here, and then you got blood over here. There was something, these spots here are from where there was some fluids flowing in there. It's not hard to see if you look carefully. And right up, you know, that was an inclusion up here of some sort where the blood was. And if you could really examine that closely, that almost looks like a layer of blood right there. Which it could be. It could very well be. But these are obviously little places where there was blood flow. Or some fluid. I don't know what it was, but it was something. And they showed up in the back of that cavity. You see the 3 holes and then the chunk coming here going back? That's what she was showing. Don't forget the 3 holes are arranged around that chunk and that little tab at the top. Here's the spots we were looking at right there. Right around the break off, that chunk that went in. That was in the wall, came out of the wall. And the wall was made out of clay. Clay is skin. Skin is where you have keratins and kerogens and a lot of sulfur. And there's like 4 or 5 places in the body that have a lot of, it's a fibrous sort of thing going on there, where your nails, hold on one second. Now, they say sulfur is primarily concentrated in the human body, because these are mostly sulfur and blood, iron. It says sulfur is primarily concentrated within the proteins of the skin, that's number 1, then the hair, and then the nails, as it is a key component of amino acid methionine and cysteine, which makes up these tissues. Essentially, sulfur is present throughout the body in all cells, but most prominent in keratin-rich areas like hair and skin. Primarily the skin is, well, hair too, it's a fibrous stuff. They don't fully understand, really. It's elastins that are in the skin and the hair and all the things that they have a little bit of elasticity to them. And that's what these proteins are made out of, and the sulfur is a primary component of that ability to move and then restore, or it appears to me, because it's where they were looking at those crystals. If I've shown you that yet or not, I will. To me, that's the fluid-filled highway. I'm almost certain of that. And it's just at the basement of the, well, not at the basement of the, well, it's just below the skin prior to hitting the muscle tissue. So you got skin and a little bit of floppy stuff underneath, and then you get into your muscle tissue. Now, the floppy stuff in between contains these membranes. And that's where I believe she was in. She was chipping away at the flesh, which is the white clay, and then you hit the membrane layer, and that's where the sulfur's settled there for some reason. And I normally can think of that as specific gravity, or it was some organ was right next to there that forced sulfur into that area and transitioned all that stuff into sulfur. Because they're sulfur, these are all transition type molecules that invade and take over and move around, in your body, and sulfur is a big one. But it's in keratin-rich areas like hair and skin, and that's keratins, collagens. It's all that gooey, gummy, rubbery stuff in your body. And primarily, like I said, that's in the fluid-filled highway, and that's what I think they were looking at, that one layer right below it, had all that sulfur cubes in there, which is the fool's gold. All right, this is the black pyrite and the gold pyrite, fool's gold. And see if you can see this. Sometimes the flash makes the gold ones look black, but I'm pretty sure those are black ones. And I'll show you the difference in the chemistry. And all it means is one of them has different chemistry to it. And the black one, I'll talk about that. Now see, he's just taking away the clay. That's just nothing more than putty, like clay. See it? Now see, these are just nothing but black. That's the gold one. Now let's show you what fool's gold is versus the black pyrite. All right, listen to this carefully. Pyrite can come in gold and black. So there's black pyrite and gold pyrite. Now, the gold pyrite is golden yellow appearance because of the sulfur primarily. And it's FeS2, iron sulfur. Golden color comes from the shiny metallic surface which can resemble gold. Now, it's just about the appearance, and it's cubic and so forth. So is the black. Now, the black is less common form of pyrite, but it can occur under certain conditions. Black coloration. Now, listen to this very carefully, because all it means is it's got oxidation state, and that's on the iron side. Because the oxidation state of iron is either O2 or O3. And I'm sure it's an O3. Now, they're saying the oxidation state, black colorization, can result from various factors. Oxidation. They're saying it comes out and it gets oxidized on the surface. Well, maybe. But I'm not sure of that. It could be throughout. Anyway, it says the conditions such as moisture, oxygen can undergo oxidation and form iron oxide minerals, which is the black. We know the iron oxides are black and red primarily, but with this sulfur addition, it turns into goldy looking metals. So it's the oxidation, and it forms iron oxide minerals, the black. They give it a darker, more blackened look. It says this is not pure pyrite, but rather pyrite that has weathered and altered over time. Well, maybe. Then there's graphitic pyrite, which is a rare form of pyrite, can have a graphitic texture, which may appear darker, even black, due to the appearance of carbon or graphite-like impurities mixed with the pyrite. All of which we're carbon-based creatures. And the black is due to the vein blood, as far as I'm concerned. Black pyrite, appearance. Black pyrite can sometimes appear dull or tarnished due to surface oxidations, which can change its color to dark gray or black. Formation may also form, black pyrite may also form in specific geological environments, such as low temperature, could be where that was, low oxygen environments, absolutely, which can lead to the formation of pyrite with different characteristics such as a different crystal structure or more impurities, which you saw all those chunks coming off the sides of them. Those are impurities that lead to a fracture of the crystalline structure, and it goes off in a different direction or whatever. All right, so we got gold and we got black. So the conclusion is that there's technically a distinction between gold and black pyrite. The golden form is the most common. The black form is often results of oxidation, just nothing more than oxidation, or alteration of the pyrite mineral. Well, it's the iron primarily. The term both are still pyrite, but the color and appearance can change due to those factors, vein and artery. All right, you see this? You see that right there, that exact line right there? That's basically the fluid-filled highway. And that's why all of this sulfur crystal pyrite has formed here, because it's the lowest, the skin has all eroded after this collected. Now this is all in has been really transitioned from some kind of enzyme. But this, you see right there, that's the line, that's the layer. This is right below it. I'm going to show you on a real picture of what it looks like. Now, you know what? I could turn this around so you could see it from the angle I'm going to be showing it to you. All right, that's actually pretty good. Now, here's what we got. Right up here is the skin was up here. It eroded all the way off because the pyrite crystals collected here. They settled down. Now, underneath the pyrite crystals is the layer where the bacteria live and the enzymes are produced down in this layer, and then you get down into the bodily tissue, which is where you get invaded. So this is the layer that keeps you from getting invaded. This is the area that creates the molecules that go into that layer. This has just been recently discovered. So let me show you the real interstitium, because that's what that is interstitium. That layer right there that runs all the way across, and just below it is the layer where it houses the macrophages and the bacteria and so forth that go out and do the job. And over the top is this, hold on. Over the top is all of these, hold on. These are where all your minerals are, which are, in this case, the pyrite. I'm going to show you this in a little, but it's extremely unbelievable. Look at all these little crystals. They just completely turned into a mat, and everything above it eroded away. All right, I showed you this line. That is the fluid-filled highway. This is the little scruffy spot where all the bacteria and the enzymes live. And that was right on this line. Above this was where the skin was, and it's gone. The skin would be up here somewhere. It's gone, and all of its minerals now have collected there because of some kind of chemistry that ate away the skin, and all the crystals collected here. I don't know what it was. And then it created all this green stuff. Very cool stuff. And this is nothing more than this. I'll show you right now. It's this fluid-filled highway. They never knew it was here before. That's that white. That's the fluid-filled highway I talked about. And you see the dark spot underneath? That's where the bugs live, and all the macrophages and all that. They just jump right out there and pew, they take off. All this here has eroded down and is laying here. Underneath is that fluid-filled highway right here. It's just a little tiny line. And just below that fluid-filled highway is this. And then you get into the flesh, which is here. And for some reason, this all turned green. Something invaded it. Some kind of chemistry invaded it. And it's all chunky little blocks in here. And I think it was tendon or muscle fibers at one time. Even though they say, oh, they just turned into crystal. Well, yes, maybe. Because they do, they turn into crystals. I can't say it isn't, but it sure has the look of either muscle or tendon. And when you look at it, the white is identical to the green. So they were both the same at one time, I think. And the green has taken over, and the white hasn't yet been invaded. That's what I'm seeing. I'll show you quickly in the microscope, and then I guess we'll go from there. Okay, I'm looking at this. This is the back where I say this is skin or tendon. It's not skin, I'm sorry. Okay, on the other side of this was all that silvery looking stuff, which was the skin. So we're on the other side of the skin below the interstitial layer, the fluid-filled highway. What this is a couple of possibilities. It looks to me like it was muscle fibers at one time, and they turn into blocks and crystals. And you see how the green is totally different right over here, and there's an abrupt transition into this white. Exactly what that means, I don't know. I can see there's, I believe that's a little chunk of gold. There's another little chunk of gold. There'll be metals in here, all kinds of different metals. It's a very cool piece. You see, that's some kind of a transition. Obviously, there's something going on here, a vein or artery, or I believe that's. It looks to me like there was blood flowing through there at one time, I would imagine. But it's either that or it's just an abrupt transition. But it's obviously something was going on there. There's something else over here. You could play with this stuff for days and hours, which is what I do. And I see, and sooner or later, I see things that I just didn't see before. And the only way to do it is just to take the time to do it. Look at that, isn't that something? I can tell you what, right there is a blood vessel. That's a blood vessel. And this spitting this out. This is bloody sulfur or something. See, this is spitting it right out from here. I didn't see that before. I never saw that before. That's what's leaking out of there is blood. What do we got over here? Oh, that's just something they added to glue it down. That right there, hold on, I'm going to focus way down in on that. Give me a minute, this is going to take some time. I had to come right down on that puppy. I would say that little spot right in here was where all this stuff came out of. You know something, just for kicks, I'm going to put some hydrogen peroxide in there. Because this is a membrane. I know that's a membrane. Will it show up? I don't know. Let's find out. This is going to take a second. Give me a second. All right, get ready. I'm going to put some hydrogen peroxide right in there. And if we're going to get a reaction, that's where you'd get it from. I can't imagine it's going to do that, but it might. Oop, there it goes. Hold on. Now let's get in close and see what we can find. Look at it. It's bubbling. That's the white you want to see, that bubbling fuzzy stuff. Very hard to see, but because the bubbling will be so fine that you really almost can't see it. Let me put a little more on there. Let's see what we got now. Well, maybe not. There's some over there. You know what? Where we're going to get it is in the skin, I'll bet you. And only here and there in the skin. This is just too transition. Let me try something. Hold on, boys. Let's see what we got on the other side. So take a second. Here we go. Now let's see if we can see any fuzzy spots. I see some spots I can tell that are buzzing a little bit, but there's no major reaction here. I'm going to go with no reaction. Nothing to speak of, but look at all this stuff. Isn't that amazing? That's in your skin. What the hell are all these rods and things? Look at that. I find this stuff fascinating. All right, that's enough. Okay, this goes to the extreme end of coolness. What am I talking about? This. And what is that? Well, that's the pyrite block. Either I've shown you or will show you in extreme detail in the extraction from the clay that it was in. And I believe it is kaolin clay. And I believe it was in skin. And these are where there was some fluids running, and I believe there's blood inclusions here. These are inclusions. And this particular type of sulfur, and it's called disulfide bonds, inside of this particular area, where the iron and the sulfides sulfur combined together in a certain way, and that is in the skin. It's because it's a keratin, it's a rubbery substance that has a structural, molecular structure to it that ends up crystallizing in this way. Now there's two types. I don't know whether I've shown you this or not. I probably already have. There's the black and then there's the gold. And this one here is the gold look and fool's gold. And you can see this is where there's blood. This is the blood and inclusions of biological things. And this was where this was stuck into some of these little balls where I don't know what they're doing. But every time you see a little distortion in it, it's because of some mineral inclusion that breaks the crystalline structure and has to start over again. Now, I have this thing here. You see this green? This is pretty cool. You see all that? Look at this on the other side. Where do you see this? Boom. And here's some pyrite. This is all pyrite in tiny crystals, but a big one grew. This is going to be kind of interesting to look at, but this, I'm telling you right now, that's skin. And underneath here was where it went into the creature's body. And look at the well, we're going to put it on a microscope. You see it in a minute. But all of that fracturing and all that stuff, I don't know if you can see it or not. But it's pretty cool. Now this is just glued on there. That's nothing. And then there's a bunch of other little things going on here. This is a geode. It's pretty cool. And so this stuff is just like putty glue. It's colored gold. And got a couple little jewelry looking things on it. But this is, we're going to look at that in a microscope. Very cool. I'm pretty sure that's just skin. And all the top part of the skin has eroded away down to this, probably is like the basement layer. I don't know. It's biology, I can tell you that. But they turn crystal. Everything can change to anything else, depending upon the condition it's in, because there is nothing but biology. And it's transitioning of molecules into something else. And it's primarily due to enzymes. Because enzymes break things up and build things back together, and they have a process that they do it in. Like boom, 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 boom. I do it over and over. I do the exact same thing. So they build crystals, they build minerals, they build structures, they do all kinds of things. Enzymes are the things that build your body. So if it was in an area where there was this exact type of enzyme with just tons of them, it would do some kind of chemistry. This is all new stuff. Nobody understood this was a biological process before. They just thought, they just collected there, and it was just runoff or this and that. No, that's been well proven not to be true. And mud fossils is absolute 100% certainty. Nobody can stand up to it anymore. It's just impossible. And now with all the DNA tests we're having done and all the specimens and everything, and then the whole world knows about it now. Everybody in all the other countries understand it pretty well. I'm telling you, I get more from other countries than from the United States. I think. I don't know. But I do get a lot of people from everywhere around the world. They understand it. They're very interested in it because they have roots that understand these stories of our ancient past. And they've always heard them in their culture, and probably by now they probably sort of dismissing them, just like everybody does. Yeah, you gotta be crazy. Yeah, dragons, monsters, giants. Great flood. You people are fools. Well, that's what I thought, but not now. The evidence is just overwhelming. It's just it's incontrovertible. It cannot be denied. So what is the denial reason? What is going on here? I think I do know. And I think you do too. And it's, I'm not going to get into that. It just gets, just another one of those things. It's another wall you got to crash down. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the no-toes. We're going to talk about all the things that they don't talk about. So let's, I think either I've shown you or I will show you, but this is where blood comes in, I'm sure. And the chemistry and all that stuff, again, I got interrupted a couple times, but I think I've already shown you the chemistry, how it's iron and sulfur. And that's blood and sulfur. And sulfur is the main component in keratins and keragens. And it's the extreme main component in skin. And what he was chiseling away was clay. And we are made of clay. This is nothing more than clay. It's called keragens. Kaolin clay. Kaolin. 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 And it's clay. And it's very soft and slippery. It's very, very soft. And that's what they were chiseling out. If they poured water on there, they could just make it turn it into putty just like that. And they did. They poured a little water on there, it ran off as mud, which is the same thing that runs off. Red clay is just red flesh that's eroded. White clay is just white flesh that's been flushed of its blood and it's now powdery. So that covers that for today, my friends. I will be getting back the DNA tests. I got one back already for me, my test, because I want to prove that I was not contaminating these samples. My test came back, and it was as expected. I'm from European area and this and that, and up into Nova Scotia, and then down into New England, and it's covered exactly where I was from. It was very detailed, very good. So, and they did say that they extracted DNA from the other samples I sent in. The other samples I sent in are, let's call them extraordinary. Let's see what we get back from these babies. All right, I love you all. And again, we got so much going on here that it's just never ends. Never ends. Giants, dragons, things that nobody would ever allow their mind to expand enough to think about. This is not tiny. There's a guy standing here. I think he's right down in here somewhere. We can't even see him. Maybe he's down in here. He's running a drone saying, oh, look at this piece here. I said, what about this? He said, oh, that's nothing. Those are flat irons. I said, are you kidding me? You think they just happen? Oh, yeah. Well, they're everywhere. I said, I know, but they're dragons. Oh, no. And this thing is wide open. That's the thing's last meal, or is a pen, is I don't know, something. But it's right in the middle. And I agree. It's what is it doing there? Well, how did that thing get there? That's what he's saying. How did this get there? Well, this is last meal. I don't know what it is. Just tonsils. I don't know. But it's in the middle of a snake or gigantic dragon's body. And if they can't see that, it's like the forest and the trees and the twigs. They can't see anything for, I don't know, maybe they got a big beam in their eyeball or something. They just can't see. Don't want to see. It's too much. Well, it's not too much for us, is it? Well, it is. But I'm going to tell you right now, this eye opener is here as a test. It's a test. Can you accept it or you cannot accept it? Are you looking for truth or not looking for truth? Are you looking for a solution to your situation regardless of the truth, or are you looking for the truth even though it puts you in a situation that you may find very uncomfortable? And it's exactly what Jesus said. He said, when you find, he says, seek until you find. Well, this is where we found it. And it says, then you will be disturbed. And if you're not disturbed about this, the people, literally almost 99% of them, as soon as you say anything about dragons, giants, monsters were real, they when I say disturbed, they get ugly and nasty. And they just stay away from me. That guy's crazy. And I mean, really, they get a gut reaction. And it's a hard thing to accept. So this is a test. And if you can't accept the truth, I don't think God's going to want you. If it's a test and you fail the test, what does that mean? It means you stay back. Stay down there. But I don't know. Anyway, this is such a deep thing now. And I see it's on the mainstream media now. They're talking about our eternity, life, the end of life. What's going to happen? What are we thinking about? Why are we here? What is going on? How did it happen? They know now that it's just nonsense about the evolution. We came from slime. Absolutely not. Although, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what. We came from dragons and giants and monsters. No question about that. And when we get the DNA test back, this is going to be extremely interesting. Because like I said, these things are extraordinary. One of them is a noto right here. And here I drilled down into the noto, deep inside. Clean as clean could be, all kinds of precaution in here. And I, myself, have had my own DNA test to be sure that what comes out of there is not me. So we'll see what comes out. And now I know, Andre told me that they did get DNA out of the next 3 tests for sure. out of the first 4. So they got a TNA out of all of them. Mine was just straight from me, so that was expected. The other 3 are from things like this, that are, were they going to give us DNA or not? We didn't know. But they did say that the DNA was extracted, and now they're working on the RNA sequencing that gives you the ancestry, apparently, is what they claim. And for me, they were right on the money. Totally right on the money where I came from. So we have to assume that the tests are, in my case, valid. Let's find out what they say about all the rest of this stuff. We could do a whole ton of them. I got so much stuff I could, but we're going to have to find out what they say. So we should be within the next few days. I'll have more info on that. I love you all. And think for yourself. All right? Start talking, and don't worry whether they say to you that they don't want you to talk to them about it. You know, if they become ugly, they become ugly. Just dust off your sandals and walk down the road. All right? This is a test. It's for you to see, and if you have seen it, you have probably passed the test. And if you have not seen it, you haven't passed the test. There's no question with that. If you can't see this and you deny it, you just deny reality. So you have failed. And I see that in almost exclusively the people that claim to be the most educated. And it's disturbing, because they are the ones that are in control of our money and our futures, because they hold the keys to the castle. And it says in the ancient text too, they hold the keys to eternity, and they have not entered in themselves, and they have the keys, and they will not let you in. And that's the case, because you go to academia, start talking about God and religion and Jesus or Islam or any of that stuff, they think you're a nutcase. And I don't care whether they say to you, I don't want you talking about it. Trust me, they don't want you talking about it. And it will affect your outcome, your grade. So you can't talk about it. And then if you want to be accepted within everybody else, they don't talk about it. So they keep that down. And we know it's just not true anymore. And Jesus, as far as I'm concerned, he came here to warn us exactly about this exact same thing. And there will be false teachers among you that deny God, and their destruction does not sleep. It's exactly what it says. It's not a good thing, and we are not in a good position. And until we can get a forum of all people being able to discuss openly what the evidence indicates and what we are being told, all right? The evidence indicates we are living on creatures just as the world is a corpse. Now, you can take that in a couple different ways. The world, normally in these ancient texts, they mean the people of the world as a, just the mentality of the world. It's a corpse. The people now, it is. It's just, most of them are just completely dead in the head, totally lost, gone. No understanding of where they're going to go or where they came from, and they don't care. That's what I found. A lot of them, and they're very close to me. They just cannot deal with this, and I don't know why. I've tried to understand it, and I've tried to wiggle my way in to the people that are close to me that deny this, and you just can't wiggle in. If they don't want it, they don't want it, and they don't appreciate people trying to help them to understand it. All right, and even the evidence. Do you see this? I don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it. Don't bring this stuff to me. That kind of response, and it just never turns around. So, I guess that's all I have to say. And but we know what we see, and we can understand what we see. And I understand myself right now. I think I understand. I am not of this world, because this world is lost. I am not lost. I am found. I have found. I have marveled. I have been disturbed. And I think I'm going up because I have learned. If you don't learn, I guarantee you ain't going to graduate. All right, I love you all. As far as I'm concerned, these are all my views, my opinions. I'll discuss them. I'll talk about them because I'm not afraid to talk about them. That's because I feel that they're valid to talk about. If they're not talked about, you're going to accept the things that you're being told that are absolutely not true. No question whatsoever they're not true. And they will stick to those guns. And you will have to say those things in order for you to be accepted in society. And that is a tragedy. That is not God's way. God says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. And Jesus talks all about all these things, and he talks about we are from the light. We come from the light. We are made of light. All of this stuff I have found. And I didn't find it by accident. Somehow I got the messages. Look here, look there. These things just kept flowering, pounding me. And every day still. I could do this 24 hours a day and come up with things to show we're totally wrong about everything they said. Light accelerates. Light splits. This is what you want to become right there. Your material body is the black part of light. It's never going to go with you. It's going to go, I don't know where it goes. But you are going to hopefully turn into that, which is the brilliant light. Everything you read about the ancient texts is all about ascending and becoming part of the light, of the brilliant white light. Now, if you go the other direction, not good. I'm going to leave it at that. I love you all. Bye.